welcome. Today is Tuesday, July 28th, 2020. Welcome to today's school board workshop. And this meeting is now called to order. At this time, we'll jump right into it and have the presentation from Creative Arts Academy by Ms. Barr. Jana Bars.
That's right.
And just before you get started, Ms. Bars, I just wanted to, for the record, announce all the attendees. First of all, we have Ms. Carol in the district office. We have Ms. Carol Gibson, Ms. Board Member Bart Alford, Board Member Reggie Daniels virtually or remotely. We have board members Soretta Bell and Susie Williamson. Also in the district office, we have Ms. Superintendent Joseph, Isaac Goyette, Ms. Becky Bishop, Principal Jana Bars, and did I miss anybody?
Principal Michael Sneed.
Yes, sir, that's right, Mr. Sneed, Principal Sneed, and Miss Robin. Y'all forgive me. Dr. Blue also is present in the getting a little old.
We don't claim that.
Also present in the district office. Okay, at this time, we'll turn it over to Ms. Bars for her presentation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Good evening. I've made a copy for you to refer to if you'd like to. I will probably skip through some of these slides. It is an in-depth presentation that I'll be taking back to our board of directors immediately following this. So I'm going to go ahead and begin on the second page under some of the first things that we're doing under building sanitation in order to get our buildings ready for students. Over the summer, we've been busy. The furnishings in each of the classroom areas have been removed for a complete stripping, waxing in the tile areas, and then a complete sanitation of all of the carpeted floors. The walls are being wiped down, or they have been wiped down with a mixture of bleach and water, and some have been painted as well. The majority of all of our cloth seating has been removed. It will be replaced with furnishings that can be wiped down. The cloth items that remain will be sprayed and sanitized following their use. Only necessary furnishings are being returned into those classrooms, and our outside buildings, as we do every year, will be pressure washed and cleaned prior to students returning. In addition, we are installing 38 touchless sanitation stations throughout the campus prior to the return of our students. A wall and a door were installed at our nurses station area to enclose an area for isolation to monitor those students who have symptoms while they are on campus. Plexiglass shields have been installed in the front office and library to maintain separation from our staff members, students, and visitors. Signage will be utilized to promote social distancing, the use of masks, and proper hygiene. And then all of our water fountains have been or are being disabled throughout all of our campus. The classrooms, when we bring all the furnishings are coming back in now. Our household staff, they meet with teachers in the setup and helping them set up their classrooms. All of the individual desks are being spaced as far apart as possible. As far as the room sizes will allow. All desks are currently facing forwards towards presentation boards within the classrooms. For classrooms that have tables, like our kindergarten, we have ordered the plexiglass dividers for those. We haven't received all of them, but we're installing them as they come in. The teachers are asked to keep their counters as clear as possible so that surfaces can be wiped down quickly and easily. And unused classroom materials will be stored somewhere else until they're needed. For personnel considerations, the teachers will self-report their temperatures at daily check-ins, and that will also be a part of their log-in process where they report their temperature along with answering 3 questions. They will be required to wear either a mask or a face shield or both, and to model social distancing and good hygiene at all times. Employees with temperatures in excess of 99.6 will not be allowed on the school campus. Teachers exhibiting symptoms will be provided with a means to teach from home, provided their health allows them to do so. And they've expressed a desire to continue teaching. If they test positive or they're showing symptoms, they would like to continue teaching as long as they feel able. Transportation. The students and staff members will be required to wear masks both on the bus and upon arrival at Madison County Central School, because that's where our students are transported to the Central School, where they wait until all the buses are in, then they board a bus and come back to our campus. Bus drivers will maintain a seating chart, and students will be seated in family groups. Students' temperatures will be checked while at MCCS or en route to MCAA. And that will be done by our MCAA staff members who do go to the Central School each morning to greet our bus riders. So students found to have a fever will be isolated from other students utilizing the school's isolation room procedures. Separate transportation from MCCS will be provided for symptomatic students. So if necessary, if we need to bring them back to use our isolation room, we'll provide separate transportation to get them back to our campus. Once the students arrive to campus, the masks will be provided to students. They'll be required to wear the mask while they're on the school campus. Each student's temperature will be checked upon arrival, and we have stations where students report each morning, so they will have their temperatures checked prior to entering any classrooms or any buildings. Care will be taken to maintain social distancing for students. And the media center, our library, one of our busiest rooms in the school, our plan is for it to be open in the morning, but the maximum number of students allowed in at any one time will be 10 students. Classroom procedures, students will maintain their own supply boxes, so there will be no sharing of school supplies this year. Each student will be issued his or her own electronic device, and devices will be disinfected prior to returning to their charging carts. Teachers will deliver their students and pick them up from PE, recess, and the media center. Now, students will remain together as a cohort throughout the day. The cohort will remain in the same classroom with the exception of the media center, recess, PE, and the middle grade elective classes. Recess times will be scheduled to allow only one homeroom class on the playground at a time, and one grade level at a time will participate in PE, divided by 2 teachers. Time has been scheduled between classes visiting the media center throughout the day to allow for sanitation. With regards to food service, we will continue to utilize the established outside catering service relationships that we have. The lunches will be delivered to classrooms for all students in K through 8th. Administrators will work towards creating a schedule to allow each class to eat outside periodically as much as possible. Plexiglass dividers will be installed in the food serving area for faculty, staff, or students who may need to come in and pick up food items. Funds have been budgeted to add additional housekeeping staff to be present throughout the day as needed. So doorknobs, phone receivers, counters can be wiped periodically throughout the day by housekeeping, office staff, teachers, and our parapros. Classrooms will be sanitized using a high production airless sprayer while students are at recess or at PE, and again at the end of each school day. Visitors to campus. So in all of our visitors, we're going to encourage virtual conferences whenever possible, although we realize that may not always be feasible. So visitors will be allowed on campus by appointment only. So we will ask that they call in prior to their visit. All visitors will have their temperature scanned and answer a series of screening questions upon their check-in at the campus, and the visitors are required to wear masks for the duration of their time on campus. Parents we understand that there are times when parents need to pick their students up early, but we are asking that they pick them up by 2:15 for an early dismissal, and that they can call and make arrangements for that pickup. So this year, our students will remain inside their classrooms during that dismissal time. The parents will be provided with car placards to communicate to staff which students they are picking up. The Alertus desktop notification system will be used to communicate during parent pickup. So the staff member on duty at the pickup zone will use a tablet to enter the student's name as their ride arrives, and the names will display on classroom smart boards communicating to students when to come to the front. Physical guides such as tape and on the sidewalk will be used to ensure the students remain at least 6 feet apart at all times. Consideration is being given to we're thinking about a staggered pickup time. However, I think we're going to try it full, and we can make that adjustment if needed. We will have a virtual open house, and that will take place the week prior to school starting. We'll have staggered start dates. The schedule currently, day one, we'll start our kindergartners, half of our kindergartners through first grade. And day two, we'll bring the other half of our kindergartners in, so the teachers are only dealing with half of their population at one time. And then day three, we would have all of our students return to campus. So currently, that anticipated start date is the 17th. Now, we plan to offer digital delivery of instruction to students with compromised immune systems or other extenuating circumstances, along with those students who are temporarily placed on quarantine. At present, we have 7 students who've requested distance learning due to extenuating circumstances. Students in distance learning will be able to synchronously participate in instruction delivered through Canvas LMS platform, so long as their health allows. Lesson videos will be made available through Canvas for students to complete their missed work. And then CARES and CSP funds are being utilized to equip classes with cameras to record teachers' lessons for remote delivery of instruction. Canvas, as the district, it has been chosen as our LMS platform as well. Teachers will utilize Canvas daily in their classroom instruction to allow for a seamless transition to distance learning in the event that we have a full shutdown, a class shutdown, or a full school shutdown. Laptops and Chromebooks will be provided for students participating in digital instruction for the duration of their absence if needed. We will take attendance each day. Students will be required to log into our distance learning platform at 8 a.m. each day. They will follow that schedule, so they'll get breaks along with our students. And then we plan to have the dismissal at 3. Student attendance in the digital delivery will be monitored by the teacher of record, verified by our IT staff, and maintained and reported by the attendance clerk. IEP teams will meet and discuss the results of progress monitoring and develop support plans. Plans will address the academic, social, and behavioral goals. We have our OT and mental health providers will be making home visits when necessary. Mental health counselors will continue to provide services at the school site. And students participating in distance learning can receive home visits if the visits are deemed to be safe for those individual providers.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to, first of all, thank you for a very thorough preparation plan, but something that's very important to me as a mother, teacher, and school board member is that you scheduled recess times for the children. Because this is going to look different, and as I'm an elementary teacher, and to put children in a little cubicle all day long is not going to work, especially with masks and all that. But the fact that you've actually scheduled recess times, I'm very impressed with that, and I'm thankful that you're doing that.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Any other questions? You're good?
Ms. Williamson, Ms. Bell, do you have any questions for Ms. Bars?
I don't, but good job, Janice.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, Greenville Elementary, Mr. Sneed. And while Mr. Sneed is coming forward, just kind of wanted to give the audience an idea of what our format looks like today or tonight. We're going to have presentations from all of the schools in the district in 15-minute increments. However, at 6 o'clock, we have a scheduled board meeting, and we'll suspend the workshop until after that particular board meeting, and then we'll resume the workshop and the presentations. And at the end, for those of you who would like to have public comment, we'll give you that opportunity after the final presentation. So I think you just call in or chime in and let us know that you would like to be a part of the public comment. All right, Mr. Sneed, welcome to the district, by the way.
Thank you for having me, sir. Good evening. My name is Principal Michael Sneed from Greenville Elementary. Good evening, Board of Trustees and Superintendent Joseph. After looking at the CDC guidelines and talking with the other administrators, my faculty, staff, and just collaborating with the admin retreat, we put together a reopening plan for Greenville Elementary School to keep kids as safe as possible for the upcoming school year. And one of the things that we are still in discussion with right now is, are we going to have a virtual open house? As of right now, we are scheduled to have a virtual open house. At that time, it will be conducted on WebEx. We'll also put the recording on our Facebook page. I'll introduce myself, the vision, the mission. The teachers will have an opportunity to introduce themselves and what the kids can expect this upcoming school year. And it will be a live recording, so parents, the community members will be able to ask questions at that time. And next is our staff. We actually plan on checking our staff's temperature at 7:50. Our staff will report at 7:45, and at that time we will check temperatures. If a staff has a fever or 99.6 according to the CDC, we will ask that staff to input a sick leave in Skyward and also visit the local physician or the health department. And if they're diagnosed with COVID-19 or have contact with COVID-19, they will have to self-isolate for 14 days, and they will not be able to return until they receive 2 negative results from the health department. And like she mentioned earlier, they are required to wear either a cloth mask or a shield, and they're free to wear both. For our students are required to wear a mask on the bus. They will also have seating arrangements for the drivers. We want to try to keep families together, is what we are looking to do this upcoming school year. Upon arrival, we will check students' temperatures. We're also told by our nurse to not only look for temperatures or fever, but also the other symptoms. If a kid's temperature is over 99.6, we will isolate that student at that time, or if they exhibit any of the symptoms, which is sore throat, loss of taste, loss of smell, stomach ache. So if they exhibit any of those symptoms, we will isolate that student and get with them after we get everybody else off the bus. Once they pass the pre-screening questions, we will stamp their hands. That will give them an opportunity to get into the cafeteria. It'll be myself and 2 paraprofessionals and Mr. Johnson. We will release K1 and 2 off the buses first, and we'll line kindergarten up, and there'll be a sign that says kindergarten, and we will start asking those questions and taking temperatures. At that time, 3, 4, and 5 will be exiting towards the gym or towards the B wing. At that time, K1 and 2 will be in the cafeteria eating breakfast. For the kids that get there late, I have spoke with a secretary, and she will be taking temperatures to make sure kids are fine before they go into the cafeteria. If a student is late, they still have to have their temperature taken. And this year, we plan on using A and B wing. Wing A will be for kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. and B wing will be for 3, 4, and 5. One of the special things about Greenville Elementary is that it's smaller, so we're able to social distance just a little bit better than most schools, and we have just a little bit more space because it was originally designed for a K-8 school. If a student exhibit a fever or have any symptoms, we will isolate them, like she just mentioned. We will notify the parents to pick them up, but if not, they will be in the isolation room with the paraprofessional, and the nurse will come by and check to see what kind of symptoms that they have at that time. And kids will not be required to return until they have a fever less than 72 hours. We wanted to call it something different than the isolation room, so we're going to call it a coat protection room, a little bit more elementary friendly. And in the coat protection room, there will be a desk for kids to sit, and if they need to lay down, we'll definitely provide something for them to lay down until their parents arrive. The paraprofessional will have a PPE equipment, gloves, hand sanitizer, wipes, disinfectant spray in the event that, it's needed. And upon exiting the coast protection room, they will dispose of all clothing, so they won't go back and carry the virus into the classrooms. And breakfast and lunch. Our cafeteria staff will have on a mask and a face shield and gloves. We ordered a plexiglass to go around the registers and the serving lines, and so we're waiting on that to come in at this time. The tables will be spaced out in social distance. Kids will be facing one direction as they eat in the cafeteria, but we've separated K through 5, so kindergarten, first, and second grade will eat breakfast and lunch together, while 3, 4, and 5 eat at a separate time. Once students are finished eating, they will report to their grade level line with their teacher, with being separated 6 feet apart, and the teachers will take them back to the classroom in a staggered manner. So when they enter back into the classrooms, we will make sure that students wash their hands after breakfast, after lunch, and after they come back from PE. And if there is no, and there will be no carpet time. We will not share laptops, toys. We won't do any of those things to, potentially infect students. During the time when they finish their morning breakfast, the custodian will sanitize the tables, chairs, and the floors of the cafeteria, and frequently touch classroom surfaces will be sanitized throughout the day, whether it's the playground equipment, door handles, or railings, or desk. Touchless hand sanitizer will be used periodically throughout the day as well. We've unplugged our drinking fountains because we don't really want kids drinking out of the water fountains this school year. In transitions, at this time, we plan on transitioning. Like we've been talking about at the admin retreat, nothing's finalized. It's always changing. So as of right now, we are going to transition with students. We're in the process of purchasing fumigators, which will put out a mist and clean the desk and the area in the classroom. But we will have 2 grades out in the classroom, grades 3 and 5, and they will be the teachers will be sanitizing the classrooms while the paraprofessional is in the hallways with the students. And then once they finish getting the rooms prepared, then grade 5 will go into the classroom and sanitize their classrooms. Upon kids entering the classroom, they will sanitize their hands before instruction begins. And dismissals, it will be in a staggered manner by grade level. We plan on having a Boys and Girls Club this school year, so we will release them first. Myself and the other paraprofessionals and another teacher, we will be in the cafeteria with all the other students, and we will have walkie-talkies to where, kids will be picked up by the intercom system. They won't just be lined up out by the sidewalk. And my last slide is the maintenance checklist. Myself and Mr. Johnson created a maintenance checklist, and we'll get together at the end of each day, and he will sign off on the maintenance checklist. And we also have a part-time custodial staff that we're hoping to get approved this afternoon. And immediately following students' daily dismissal, all rooms and common areas will be sanitized and cleaned.
I like your maintenance checklist. I think that's something that you could be using no matter if it's a pandemic or not.
I agree.
You know, that's something just to let people know what I have to do and has to be done. And I also like your Colts protection room, the idea of that, you know, for calling it that rather than isolation.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
ma'am.
for what you're doing.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also commend you for the checklist as well. I think that's very important, and will also kind of give us a tangible, something tangible to remind us we need to take care of, so I commend you for that as well. Any other questions for Mr. Sneed? Ms. Bell, Ms. Williamson?
No, but I thank you for your good presentation, and it's nice to get to hear you, and I look forward to meeting you, Mr. Sneed.
Same here, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, if nothing else, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Madison County High School, Mr. Finley. And likewise, welcome to the district.
All right, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Again, I'm Chuck Finley, new principal at Madison County High School. I just want to thank the board so much for the opportunity, and it's been a real pleasure to join your team and get started working with wonderful folks at the high school like Coach Hightower and the rest of the leadership team there. And I'm getting to meet teachers as well as they come in and out this summer. But in opening up our plan, it focuses on the health and safety of our students and staff first and foremost. We're keenly aware that we have to be mindful of those achievement gaps and continue closing those achievement gaps, especially with our ESSA subgroups, providing the social and emotional support to our students as well as our staff, and showing grace and compassion throughout this whole process of returning back to school. The plan that I hope you have a copy of in front of you, our goal, Coach Hightower and I, our goal was to account for every minute our students and staff are on our campus to keep them safe and keep them healthy during this pandemic. So opening up, you can see our AM supervision times from 7:35 to 8:10 each day. And we want staff to make sure they're doing temperature checks before they enter the building. Any staff with COVID symptoms or a fever that reaches that 99.6 or higher threshold, they are to contact me as well as Dr. Blue and keep him informed. From there, for them to have clearance to return to school, they'll have to provide us documentation from the health department or their family physician. No COVID symptoms, we're requiring them to report to their supervision areas or their classroom. For students, we have bus riders, car drop-off, parent drop-off, and our student drivers. We have them covered coming onto campus. Our bus riders are going to unload from the bus, and they are going to enter our building on the west entrance. We have 3 doors there, so we can keep the lines moving. We're going to encourage social distancing. We're going to have marked single file lines out in the sidewalk area leading into the building. And our idea for marking those spaces, we're going to have a maroon star on the sidewalk. We talked about that's a good mark during this pandemic. It also looked nice once we put this behind us. We have our special transportation students covered. The game plan there, the person responsible for transporting those students, we will require their temperature to be checked at the house. And they'll follow the same guidelines. If they have COVID symptoms, they're going to notify the school, we'll notify the attendance clerk, and we'll require medical documentation to return to school. From there, back to our bus riders entering the building, no COVID symptoms at that checkpoint, they're going to go to their desired supervision area. And for us, it's the media center, the gym, and the cafeteria for breakfast. For parent drop-off, we talked about doing the temperature check and the COVID symptom questionnaire at the car, because we didn't want them getting to the building and us risking that parent driving off, and you're aware of how difficult it can be sometimes to get in touch with parents because they're busy like us. And again, same procedures. If you have COVID symptoms, you will be required to provide medical documentation before returning to school, and we will notify the attendance clerk as well. And for those students, they'll have to leave immediately with their parent. Student drivers are going to enter through the south side of campus, same checkpoint procedure as the bus riders. Except one little change there with them. If a bus rider is showing symptoms, they're going to be escorted to the isolation room with our new para. Student drivers, we're going to contact the parent for parent approval for them to leave campus on their own. The AM supervision areas, the gym, the expectation there, we're going to have one side of the bleachers pulled out. Coach Hightower and I, we've marked off the bleachers. We can get 200 students in one section of bleachers sitting every other seat, facing the same direction, encouraging them to wear their face mask. The cafeteria expectations, we're going to provide them the opportunity to wash their hands before and after meals. They will have a marked one-way flow entrance into the cafeteria. There will be marked seating for them to sit, sitting in one direction. Obviously, they won't be wearing their mask at that time, but we will be policing the social aspect of sitting that close to each other. And on the front end, we have plans to really educate our students on the importance of social distancing. The media center, okay, in the cafeteria, we marked off the seats and the lines. We are estimating we can have about 100 students in the cafeteria at one given time. The media center, they'll have marked seating as well, and they'll remain seated wearing their face mask. And again, we're encouraging that aspect of the social distancing, wearing your face mask, trying to be 6 feet apart as much as possible. I think where you run into the high risk concern is when you're 6 feet, inside of 6 feet for 15 minutes or more without a mask. That's what the health department's telling us. Again, we can't make the mask mandatory for our students. Right now, that's the decision, but we're going to really encourage them to wear their mask. And we've estimated we can get 50 students inside the media center. Now, high volume transitions, that initial transition to first period, we're going to stagger that, opening up with the media center, and we're going to have a one-way flow path through the hallways. They will be dismissed at 8:03, and these will be silent dismissals. We're not setting bells for these times. At 8:05, same dismissal process from the gym. At 8:07, from the cafeteria to give them a little bit more time to eat breakfast. And our goal will be to have all students in class on time at 8:10. That's our goal. We realize it's going to take a couple weeks to iron that out, and we'll show grace and mercy during that time frame. The instructional time of the day from 8:10 to 3:20. Staff will facilitate a safe learning environment. We want them to wear the face shield during their lecture time, but then wear their face mask and their shield whenever they are using close proximity to deal with behaviors or maybe circulating and doing their checks for understanding at that time. We want them to wear the shield and the mask. Again, with the students, the way we're set up, we do not have individual student desks at the high school. We have tables. They will be sitting at their tables, encouraging them to wear the face mask, all sitting in the same direction. Clinic procedures. If a student has to go to the clinic, we're going to have the teacher write the pass, contact the para to escort them down, and similar procedures if they have COVID symptoms. We're going to the isolation room, we're contacting a parent and requiring medical documentation for them to return. No COVID symptoms, we will still contact the parent, and that'll be a discussion between the parent and the nurse for approval for the student to go home. During transitions, We still want staff standing at the door, wearing their mask, helping us police the social distancing and the behaviors in the hallways. Students will follow the one-way flow path through the hallways, wearing their masks, practicing safe social distancing. Lunchtime, we have a lunch A and a lunch B. The only difference there is the times, but something we discussed to cut down on that high-volume transition. Senior perk is going to be, since lunch starts at 11:30, we're going to allow seniors to be dismissed at 11:25. They're going to get a 5-minute head start to follow that one-way flow path through the hallways, go to their cars because they can go off campus for lunch, or report to the cafeteria and get a head start on serving them. Grades 9 through 11 will then transition on time at 11:30, same process with the flow path through the hallway. Cafeteria expectations are similar to breakfast. They'll have opportunities to wash their hands before and after they eat. They have marked one-way entrance and one-way exit. We will open up the outside patio area. And again, we've estimated we can have 100 students safely in the cafeteria at a given time. Students that are departing off campus, our discussion, if we have a 4-door vehicle exiting, we will allow 4 students to safely ride in the vehicle. If it's a 2-door vehicle, we'll allow 2 students to safely ride in that vehicle. And then our rainy day plan for overflow of students, we will open up the gym similar to the AM supervision routine. They will sit in their marked seats and we'll allow them to eat in the gym to take on that overflow of students. During this lunchtime, the teachers that have lunch at this time, that's when our custodians will come through and do a deep cleaning in the middle of the day. Lunch B, same process, just a different time like I mentioned, same procedure for custodians. At dismissal time from 3:20 to 3:35, we want our staff to report to their supervision area, wearing their face mask and their face shield, and facilitating the expectation with our students of social distancing. Again, similar to the staggered dismissal from AM, we're going to do a staggered dismissal at the end of the day, and we're going to allow juniors, seniors, and our special transportation students to dismiss at silent transition at 3:15, following all the mentioned procedures I mentioned earlier with the one-way flow path to their designated area, whether it's the bus, car riders, their own car, extracurricular activities. And then at 3:20, we'll dismiss the freshmen and sophomores with the same procedure. After school, we're relying on our custodians to do another deep cleaning of classrooms, hallways, and restrooms. Hopefully Isaac was able to send you the extracurricular return to practice plans. You should have copies of those. We required each of our coaches and sponsors. We can get that to you. Our cheerleading sponsor, band director, football coach, golf coach, volleyball coach, all have safe returns to practice plans. Their individual plans that meet their needs of their students to keep them safe. We will get those to you. And then post-practice, we have a plan for custodian to do a deep cleaning either that evening after practice or first thing the next morning at 7. One adjustment to our bell schedule to cut down on those high volume transitions. Fridays, the high school is accustomed to students going to all 8 classes. We're going to keep that block schedule on Fridays. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the kids are going to know it's an odd day, an even day, odd day, even day, and then your Fridays are just going to alternate odd days and even days for Fridays. And that concludes the safety portion of our plan.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
It was very thorough.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And nice meeting you.
Oh, nice meeting you.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Bell, Ms. Williamson, would you have a question for Mr. Finley?
No, thank you. I don't have any questions, but thank you for a good presentation.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we move, those ladies are ready.
Yes,
We've
ma'am.
got time for one of them.
Next
before
up.
6 o'clock.
Lee Elementary, if you're ready to rock and roll.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, thank you for having us here tonight. So you have the plan for Lee Elementary in front of you. The way that I came about this plan was I kind of had to start the beginning of the day. So I wanted to go from the arrival in the morning to see what that would look like, and then we would get into what our day would look like, and then dismissal. If you'll, on the first page, we're going to start with our arrival at school. This will look different than it has in the past years at Lee. We've always used one area for arrival of car students. We're going to split that into two areas now. So if you look, the first diagram is for our pre-K through second grade, and they will arrive on the east side of the school. There's a gate at the back of that drop-off area. The students will walk into that one location. We will first do, just as the others in the district are doing, we're going to be doing their temperature check and their screening questions before the car pulls off. So we'll check each one of those as they get out of their car. If they're the 99.6 or higher, or if they can answer yes to any of the questions, we will send them back home with the parent at that point. Our bus students get dropped off first in that area, so we will do that with those students also. If they have the temperature or they answer yes to any of the questions, we will send those to our isolation holding room until we can get in touch with a parent. So we will do that for the drop-off for the pre-K through second grade. Once they are dropped off, they have two choices. If they're going to breakfast, they'll still go in the same gate and walk directly to our cafeteria, have their breakfast. All of our pre-K through second graders are in what we call our 200 building. So they will either go to breakfast or enter into the building and go directly to their classroom. Our teachers are going to be there at 7:30, ready to welcome the students who arrive that early. And then, so they have that choice, breakfast or to the classroom. They go to breakfast. Once they finish breakfast, they'll go to the classroom. Our tables at the cafeteria, we've turned them all facing the stage, all facing forward, and each table will have an assigned classroom. It'll take several tables, but they'll have assigned classrooms. So even when they're at breakfast, they're still not mingling with the other students from other classrooms. They'll have assigned tables for their homeroom classroom, and that's where they'll sit, just like as if it was at lunchtime. Our third through fifth graders, we're going to have those students dropped off in our traditional drop-off area, and that's at the front of our building. We have an entrance gate to the left of the building. You may or may not know where that's at unless you've walked through it, but it's over on that side. We're going to have that gate open, and the students will walk in and either go to their building, which is the 300 building, or they will walk down our center sidewalk and go to the cafeteria for breakfast. Again, once they finish breakfast, they will go to their classroom. Also doing the temperature checks and the screening questions on those students as they get out of their cars also at the front. We're emphasizing that parents remain in their vehicles at the drop-off time, and most of them do. There's a few that that want to get out, but we're encouraging that they're all staying in their cars just to keep down on that number of interactions that we're having with outsiders. So that's our arrival process. The next page is some of the things that we're going to be implementing during the day. Students will remain in one classroom. This is different because at Lee, every grade level, kindergarten through fifth, we have team teachers. And so the students, they all change classes from the reading and social studies teacher to the math and science teacher, and vice versa during the day. So that will be different. We will stay in the same classroom. The two teachers will rotate. So they will go back and forth. The students, just like you've heard the others, they'll use their own supplies. They're going to use their own Chromebook. No sharing of anything like that. We'll have the clear protector shields. For the classrooms, we do have some classrooms that have tables. We have some that work with individual desks also, but we do have several with tables. So those dividers will be there to help with that separation. The desk, doorknobs, restrooms, and other frequently touched surfaces will be cleaned multiple times throughout the day. We do have our custodian, and we have our part-time custodian that will help with that, but also the teachers and the classrooms will help with that also. And we've talked about, getting on that schedule of 10, 12, and 2, just making that your wipe down time so that it's something automatic every day and it's on a routine. Classrooms will be cleared of unnecessary items so that students can be spread out as much as possible. In elementary classrooms, that's hard for teachers to give up sometimes. We like the bean bags and we like the cushy chairs and things like that, but they understand that in times like this, if it's not easy to wipe down, we need to get it out. So they've done a great job doing that. Just like the other schools, our water fountains have been turned off, and the students will have water bottles. We've been doing that in the past, just that they have water bottles with them at all times, even to go outside when it's hot. So that's not really a new thing for us, but we'll make sure that they all have water bottles. Our students will eat in the cafeteria. Like I said, we have the tables all facing forward, and I've staggered the lunch times so that there will be multiple classes in the cafeteria at one time. We can't just have one classroom in there at a time, but the times are staggered so that the travel time that they're passing each other has been staggered out, and that they won't be in line with another class. Students will have recess and PE. The schedule has been made so that there is now only one grade level at PE at a time. In most grades, that's 2 classes. So we're even going to split the playground. We're going to section off the playground. One class will play on one side, the other class will play on the other side, and then the next day they'll switch so they can have, all the equipment open to them. The next part, backpacks will not be needed. We're really trying to cut down on as many things going back and forth from home to school as possible that could be carriers of anything or just transmitting any kind of germs, anything like that back and forth. But with our new curriculum that we'll be using with the Florida Virtual, and it is, mainly online, they won't have books to have to carry back and forth. So they can, we have communication folders that all of our students have that are uniform throughout the school. And so whatever they may have for homework, whether it may be a worksheet, something like that, that's something they could carry back and forth. Visitors will only be permitted on campus for pre-scheduled conferences. We're going to really utilize technology and phone conferences as much as possible, or doing our WebEx video conferences as much as possible. Any visitors that do come on the campus will have to have the face covering, and we'll do the temperature checks and the screening questions. I was trying to think forward to any of our large gatherings that we might have. Of course, we'd love for all this to be over with by the time we get to an awards program, but it's probably not going to be. So we still want to reward students and honor those students and highlight those great things that they're doing. And so we will still do that. We'll do it in the classroom, and we'll have the virtual, we'll have it available where parents can watch virtually too, to celebrate with their children. Just like the other schools, our isolation room is separate. It's over near our library, and it's near an exit door where the parent can come around to that exit door and pick up that student from there, and without traveling back and forth through the office area. Of course, all these will be our guidance from the health department, and our school nurse will work together to determine all of those things about who needs to go home, who needs to quarantine, and those types of things. Like the next bullet says, in the event that a student or a staff member tests positive for the virus, then we're going to definitely lean on the local health department for them to help us determine our next steps. Again, students are strongly encouraged to wear a mask at Lee. We hope they make that choice. Of course, it's not going to be mandatory, but we hope they make the choice to do that. We ask the parents that they will help with that at home, with training the child on how to wear it and the appropriate way to wear it and things like that. course, school buses will be sanitized in between the bus routes. And then just like the other schools are saying, for the district, the masks are required for the students on the bus. The students that exhibit illness, that exhibits a fever, must remain at home. We're going to go by the CDC. We know that was a 99.6. And then we'll do the mandatory temperature checks of all our students and staff upon arrival each day. So those are just the things that are during the day and our daily walk at Lee. That's what the things will change and look like. The next page is the dismissal procedures. Excuse me. Our students who ride the bus homes in the afternoons, they will be released at 2:45 from the front of our school like we normally do. That will get those students out of the way and out of the area, and the buses could pull out. Our pre-K through second grade students, the same way that the parents dropped them off in the mornings, it'll be the same place they pick them up in the afternoons. Again, we're asking parents to stay in their vehicles at the pickup area. And then third through fifth grade pickup area, students will be at the front of the building again. And we're just asking that if parents have students in both grades, they pick the smaller child up first and then swing to the front to pick up the older child. We know that traffic will be an issue, and we're going to take that as it comes. Like we said at the beginning, on the front of this page, these are subject to change, and we may have to punt or kick again and try it again. So the safety of our students and staff is our number one priority. I know I've gotten some feedback, mostly positive and appreciative of what we're doing to help keep the students and staff safe. To the ones who think we may be going about it too harshly, a year from now, I really do hope we can look back and go, we took it to the extreme, but we have every one of our students and staff still with us, instead of a year from now thinking, I wish I would have done more. So that is our goal and our priority, is to keep everyone safe and bring them back next year. So.
Thank you very much. Very thorough. I like your virtual celebrations, and hopefully it won't last too long. Because parents like to attend
They do.
celebrations.
And we like for that.
I know.
We want the parents to be there. We want them to attend and to be a part of this. And we're going to do everything we can to make that happen in a safe way.
And also, I'm glad you scheduled the recess and the PE, because they've got to get outside and they've got to breathe the fresh air.
Absolutely.
Or at least that's how I feel about it.
I had spoken to Ms. Brown earlier. One of the complaints I've had, I don't know if any other board members, is concerning the pickup time being at 2:15, but in looking at that, that's for getting this whole operation running with the buses and people picking up, where you don't have people congested at the schools. Am I understanding that right?
Yes. So when I sent this in to the board, several things have changed since then. And so one of the things that Ms. Joseph has asked is that the checkout times be no sooner than 30 minutes before dismissal. So since we dismiss at 2:45 for the buses, which is right at the front of the school, our checkout cutoff time will be 2:15. So if a child has an appointment, then the parent would just need to be there by 2:15 to check them out.
Right.
And that just helps with that congestion of the traffic flow.
And no one really understands this, but there's a lot of steps in the afternoon for the buses to pick kids up. There's a lot of things that have to happen, and anything that we can do to mitigate where it's going to be as smooth as we can, I think is something that we should be trying to do.
Right.
And I've spoken to this before. If we're teaching from bell to bell, then if someone's leaving every day,
Right.
30 minutes or 15 minutes before school's out, and a teacher is supposed to be teaching to the end of day, then
They're losing valuable instruction
At the end
time.
of the week, they've missed 75 minutes of instruction for
Right.
that week. If
Right.
that's a habitual habit that's taken place. So we need to be cognizant of that.
Right.
But again, I mean, there have been complaints concerning that, but in looking at that there's a lot of different steps that have to go into place before children are picked up in the afternoon.
Right.
And if one thing gets out of line, then it's the whole apple cart's knocked over. And I assume that Lee's picked up first, and then you go into Central for it to be at 2:45,
2:45.
and the high school's not released until
They
3:20.
We
their
have separate buses.
They have their
Okay.
separate buses.
And our pickups are released at 3.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Amanda.
Sure.
Any other questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you, Ms. Brown.
You're welcome.
All right,
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. All right, looks like we have a couple of minutes before 6. And so we'll take a very brief recess until 6. And then we'll resume at 6 for our regular board meeting, followed by, we'll resume presentations. We'll let Ms. Amy kick it off. All right. welcome to the July 28, 2020 School Board meeting. And this meeting is called to order at this time. There are no amendments to the agenda. And that brings us to 3.1, public comment. Over to Mr. Isaac. Do we have any public comment?
No one has indicated that.
Okay. If we have any members of the public that would like to comment, you may do so or indicate to our IT department by pressing *3 or placing in the chat section of the screen that you are interested in making a public comment.
Now,
Nothing?
with
Okay.
this public comment, this will be related to this
Yeah,
agenda,
yeah, and this is,
not our back-to-school plan.
No, right. Back, just for the trimming only. Have you received anything, Mr. Isaac?
Yeah, I do have one.
Okay. Is it related to the items on this particular agenda?
It's not.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just have to, let's see. It's not related.
No,
Are they,
it's up to you.
are they able to say what it's pertaining to? Are you able to communicate with them?
I can, it's, something about a great niece being threatened.
Okay. All right, okay, if you can hold off on them and we'll communicate with them. Hold them though, make sure you keep them. All right, items for individual consideration. 4.1, proposed millage rate and tentative budget. Ms. Joseph.
Mr. Chair and the board, at our last meeting, we voted to advertise the proposed millage rate and the budget. That has been duly advertised and is noted in the newspaper. At this time, it is time to adopt a resolution and approve what has been advertised.
Okay.
And on this agenda that's printed out, Ms. Bishop put in front of you, it says the taxing authority is the school board of Madison County, Florida, and the total millage rate to be levied is 6.009, is more than the rollback rate computed pursuant to section 200.065 paren 1 of the Florida statutes by 2.94%.
Okay.
Okay, it's time for the public hearing on what's being advertised.
Okay. At this time, we will open this portion of the meeting up to the public for their input, if there be any. Mr. Isaac, do we have anybody wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting? Okay, just for the record, there were not any members of the public wishing to participate in this portion of the meeting. This portion will be closed at this time. All right.
Okay, to continue along, we've got two resolutions. We have budget resolution number 21-01. The resolution of the Madison County School Board adopting the tentative millage rates for fiscal year 2020-2021. Whereas the School Board of Madison County, Florida did pursuant to Chapter 210-11 of Florida statutes approve a tentative millage rates for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021, and whereas at the public hearing and in full compliance with Chapter 200 Florida statutes, the Madison County School Board adopted the tentative millage rates for the fiscal year in the amounts of the required local efforts was 3.761. The capital outlay was 1.500. The discretionary operating is 0.748. The discretionary capital improvement is nothing. The additional voting millage for operating is nothing, and the debt service is nothing, which is a total levy for the Madison County School Board is 6.009. The total millage rate to be levied exceeds the rollback by 2.94%. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Madison County School Board adopted each tentative millage rate for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021 on July 28, 2020 by separate voting before adopting the tentative budget. So I think this is the time we need to go in and make separate motions on each one of these items.
Okay, at this time, do we have a motion to adopt the required local effort?
I'll make the motion to adopt the required local effort, the RLE at 3.761.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, have a motion by Ms. Williamson, second by Ms. Gibson. Will there be a need for discussion? All in favor? Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
And also approve 5-0. The required local effort, 3.761 has been adopted. Discretionary, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the discretionary at .748.
Second.
All right, properly moved and seconded. Will there be a need for discussion? All in favor? Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
I also approve 5-0. Discretionary, approved and adopted. .748. Capital outlay.
I move to approve the capital outlay at 1.5.
Second.
Okay. Properly moved and second. Would there be a need for discussion? All in favor? Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
And also approve 5-0. The capital outlay has been approved and adopted, 1.5. All right, the approval of the superintendent's
Okay, I've got
21
another
budget.
resolution.
Okay,
Okay, budget resolution number 21-02, a resolution of the Madison County School Board adopting the tentative budget for the fiscal year 2020 through 2021. Whereas the School Board of Madison County, Florida did pursuant to Chapter 200 and 1011 Florida statutes approve the tentative millage rates and tentative budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021, and whereas the Madison County School Board set forth the appropriations and revenue estimates for the budget for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021, and whereas at the public hearing and in full compliance with Chapter 200 Florida statutes, the Madison County School Board adopt the tentative millage rates and the budget in the amount of $29,236,279.05 for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021. Now, be it therefore resolved that the attached budget of the Madison County School Board, including the millage rates as set forth therein, is thereby adopted by the School Board of Madison County as the tentative budget for the categories indicated for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 to June 30, 2021. And at this time, we need to approve the budget that has been presented.
Okay, after hearing resolution from the superintendent, do we have a motion to approve the superintendent's 2020-2021 budget?
I move to approve the superintendent's 2020 through 2021 budget.
Second.
All right, have a motion and second. Do we have a need for discussion? All right, all in favor? Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
And I also approve 5-0. The superintendent's 2020-2021 budget has been approved. All right. At this time, this portion of the meeting will be adjourned.
Oh, we've got some personnel changes.
Yeah.
No, okay, just this portion. Yeah. Yeah, and then I was going to go right into,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of have an adjournment on the, all right. 4.2, personnel changes.
Good evening, board members, Brother Chair.
All right,
I ask that the board approve items 4.2 personnel changes at this time.
all
I'll
right,
make the motion to approve the personnel changes. Second.
all right. Have a motion by Ms. Williamson, seconded by Ms. Bell. Do we have a need for discussion? All in favor, Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
Also approved, 5-0. Personnel changes have been approved. All right, 4.3, request for additional hours. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, the high school is in a precarious situation is that they have a new principal, a new guidance counselor, and one of their principals have been out under the weather, and she's still out, and we've got a new graduation coach, and so they have been needing some extra hours for someone to come in and help them. And so I am recommending some extra hours for the new person that's taking that position.
Okay. We have a
And it would
motion.
be paid for out of UNICEF grant.
I move to approve the additional hours at the high school.
Second.
All right, have a motion and second. Do we need any discussion on the matter?
When will the additional hours take place?
It's gonna start as soon as we get them approved until start
Oh, it
tomorrow.
starts tomorrow.
Just
Okay.
start tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All right. Approval or not? Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
All right, Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
And also approved, 5-0. Request for additional hours has been approved. All right, items of interest. Superintendent, do you have any?
No items of interest.
Okay. No attorney present? Board members, do you have anything?
No, I've just been impressed with the plans, and I thank everyone for their, including the superintendent and your staff, for all the work that you've put into this, along with the administrators, the principals, and we appreciate what you're doing.
Okay. Any other board members? And we'll also give space for you to, I guess, after the presentations to comment as well, so. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn this particular meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor, Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
And also approved, 5-0. This meeting have been adjourned. All right. Now we'll resume, we'll jump right into the presentations. We have Ms. Kendrick
Yes, sir.
present to present for Panetta Elementary.
Yes, sir. Good evening, board. Thanks for having me. And as you know, with a lot of school documents, most of them are just that, they're working documents. And I can tell you that daily we get news of something changing, whether it be about the COVID-19 itself or changes in the district that we've kind of had to adapt. And so since this document has been created, I've made several changes and still need to go back and revisit to change even more. I did the same thing as Mandy and started with my morning routines, which we only have 2 school buses that serve just our schools. So I've already talked to them, our bus drivers, and suggested that they put the students by grade level as they enter into the school bus. Because the way we are going to handle this as a school is keeping our grades together in pods. So after talking to Mr. Richard and our other bus driver, the students will be wearing masks when they enter, and they will be sitting by grade level on the school buses. Once they get to the schools, I've also discussed that because we had in the past school buses that come a little earlier than what we have people contracted to be there for. And so they're really going to work hard on trying to not drop off their first load before 7:30. My paraprofessionals will be there at 7:30 from early morning duty. I will have them distributed in Building 1 and Building 2 to collect students that get there prior to 7:45, which is our teacher's contract time. As they come in, students will be wearing face masks, and they will sit along the hallways 6 inches apart until teachers get there at 7:45, which will be the time that they will open their classrooms to start receive their students. My teachers will be serving breakfasts in their classroom, and I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but our lunchroom has already been deemed too small for the number of students that we serve. So when you get a bunch of kids in there like we've done in the past, it's just a little too much. So teachers will be serving breakfast from 7:45 to 8:15 in the morning in their classrooms. Let's say classroom routines, tables will have spit guards, so students will be sitting in little cubicles. They will not be having a classroom crayon box anymore. Each student will have their assigned crayons and their assigned supplies. So that will eliminate a lot of germ sharing. Seating placements will be determined on ability grouping so that when they do centers, teachers will be rotating around to the different students versus students getting up and doing a lot of moving around. Teachers will, let's see, PE this year will be grade specific, whereas in the past we've had 2 and 3 grade or classes outside at one time. PE will be by grade level, kindergarten, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Same thing with recess. We do have recess, and if you have it right by the school, we've just gotten our new fenced-in area in the front of the school. So I've designated the front of the fenced-in area as the recess area for our little ones. So it will not hinder or get in the way with the PE that's on the playground. Classroom sanitations, there will be sanitation centers in each classroom where teachers will have scheduled times that students will be sanitizing themselves. Teachers and paraprofessionals will be equipped to wipe tables down between students leaving classrooms for lunch times, for PEs, for recesses, things such as that. Pre-K will be limited to what they can bring to class. I don't know, in the past they've brought stuffed animals, blankets, pillows, So that will be limited this year. I've got to get with my pre-K teacher to discuss what we will allow and what we will not allow. Weekly washings will be taking place where teacher will be in charge of actually washing the blankets and the pillows that they use and sanitizing them. All unnecessary furniture has already been removed from classrooms. That happened over the summer. Custodians will clean daily after students and teachers leave their classrooms. Throughout the day, they will clean handles. They will check sanitized stations to make sure that supplies are full and working. They will clean bathrooms throughout the day. Also, one thing that I've not added here is at the beginning of the day and maybe halfway through the day, there will be, when I say little mop buckets, I mean the little mop buckets that you buy like at the dollar store with a rag and a warm water with kid-friendly sanitizing mix for teachers to utilize throughout the day if they need to. Education, students need to be educated about the seriousness of germs and how they can be harmful. And so they'll be taught the new rules in the classrooms. They'll be taught that, instead of running up on their teacher and hugging on them, distant hugs are just as nice, and, blowing kisses are just as nice as well. So they'll be learning a lot of new rules about it. Teachers must practice what they preach, and so I expect teachers to be great role models when it comes to sanitizing themselves and cleaning things. Students will be free of masks unless they leave the classroom. Now, I say that just the other day, we decided as a district that we will highly recommend students to wear masks. So one of the things that they will do is, all we can do is recommend them to do it, but, what they do with it is, it's going to be on them. Lunches, since I came up with this plan as well, we had 2 grade levels, or 2 classes in each grade level, in some grade levels. So I had actually used the lunchroom and had a portion of the gym set up to be another lunchroom. Since then, now we're down to only 1 class per grade level. So I think that I don't think we'll need the gym. We can actually use the lunchroom only. Pickup routine, we're going to try to do things as normal when it comes to that. We've always had one teacher that stands and you would have to know how our school is laid out to know how this works, but we've always had one teacher kind of call out to the students their names to go and load up. And so what I'm hoping to do is we'll still have that one teacher we have the microphones, and the teachers will stand in the hallways, and as the child's name is being called for parent pickup, they'll go out. That's on K through 2. 3, 4, and 5, it'll be a release, a gradual release, starting at 3 o'clock for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And so, like I said, this is a working document. I don't know that any of this is going to pan out the way we hope it to pan out until the first day of school, and then after that, I'm sure we'll have 100 holes and bullets in this plan. So, but I'm free to answer any questions that y'all might have.
You made a good plan, though, so
But
that's.
yeah, it's made, and, we'll try to stick to it. But like I said, it's changing daily.
Right. Now, I like your to-go breakfast. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, I've talked to Margaret a little bit, and so, like I said, the paraprofessionals, we have Building 1 and Building 2, and so as students come in at 7:30, they will have to come and sit down in the hallways. Paras will be there to man that. As teachers come in, we're going to have baskets that Margaret is going to prepare the to-go breakfasts with, and so the teachers will go in, get their breakfast, and take it to their classrooms and allow their students to go into the class and eat it. So.
And I'm glad you're taking advantage of the new fence, too, new fence area.
We are, we're excited.
We like that.
Yes.
All right. Any additional questions for Ms. Amy? not,
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Have a
Okay. Thank you, Amy.
We can go, yes, he's here,
Okay.
let him know.
All right, we'll jump on in with, ask Mr. Rod to come forward. Present for Madison County Central.
Thought I was coming early to support my fellow school principals there, but here it is. All right, we are at Central, and we have a couple of additional challenges that some of the surrounding schools don't have, so I'll try to cover those as best as I can. At Central, we're lucky enough to have 2 or 3 nurses there during the daytime, so but they stay busy with the normal routine of kids going in and out of the nurse's office. But at least we should have enough medical staff on campus, so as if we needed to use our isolation room, somebody would be there to take care of that point. And we have a dedicated isolation room. It is a normal size classroom, so in case we need to use it for more than 1 or 2 or 3 students, we'd have enough room to isolate and separate and socially distance those kids while they wait on the parents to come pick them up. Hopefully, you know, it won't be too long, but we know this is Madison. Some parents have active and ready transportation, some parents don't. So, but the isolation room is ready, it's available. We are hoping to hire a staff member to go ahead and man that room. And Ms. Dyke, who is stationed at Central, will be doing the training of the person that's going to be in the isolation room, how to handle those situations and protective equipment and make sure everybody's safe. One of the things that I think everybody kind of don't talk about is the mental and the emotional part. There's a lot of stress is going on during COVID. A lot of parents are really concerned. A lot of teachers are really concerned, but sometimes the students have other issues to pop up that we still have to deal with, the mental health issues. We're lucky enough at Central to have Appalachia Station at our campus. We also have a member from this village on our campus, and along with the guidance counselors. So they will be there to help us with the additional stresses that goes along with school and having to deal with social distancing and just some of the kids that may have issues at home dealing with with COVID viruses. As far as health and hygiene, our custodial staff is stressing that we make sure that the bathrooms are clean and disinfected multiple times during the day. Hand washing stations identified more readily than they normally are. That includes making sure that the classrooms are stocked. Soap, sanitizer. Every classroom is going to have sanitizer in their classroom. We're advising the teachers to make sure that they are paying attention to how the sanitizer is being used, and that they just don't put it out there for the kids to use, because we all know kids can sometimes be wasteful and things like that with sanitizers. We're also going to have sanitizers in the gym, cafeteria, the office, library, everywhere that we think kids will be and teachers will be. Now we've been told that the sanitizer needs to have at least 60% alcohol. That's a little different from the 70% alcohol content. So, but at any rate, our hand sanitizer will make sure it has at least 60% alcohol content. During the lunch line motion in the cafeteria, what the cafeteria staff is doing now, whereas in the past the kids will walk past and punch their number in the computers, that will no longer be happening. The cashier will be punching in all the numbers in the computers, and that will eliminate some of the contact between the kids. Continuing with the health and hygiene part, in the front office, so that we try to keep our secretary safe at the front desk, we've placed plexiglass shields up at the front desk to try to maintain some separation between any parents that may visit. We're asking the parents to give us a call before they come to the campus, especially if they're coming to check a kid out. That will give us time to get the kid to the front office so that that parent doesn't have to come into the front office and stand and wait for a long time. We are trying to eliminate a lot of congregating, especially in the front office. And a lot of the things we're asking the parents to do is make a phone call, wait in the car if possible. We'll have someone bring the kid out if the parent is checking the kid out. Visitors, again, and parents on campus, the first 2 days we're allowing pre-K, kindergarten, first grade parents to be on campus, to walk their kids to class, so that they can have that feeling and that reassurance that we're taking every precaution to take care of their babies. We're asking that all parents wear masks when they come on campus, and only the parents will be allowed to come and escort the kids, and no one else with them. Visitors that come to the campus, we're also asking the visitors to wear a mask when they enter through the front door. Also, before the visitors come through the front door, we will give them that short 3-question quiz and have them apply hand sanitizer and actually check temperature before we allow them to come into the building and congregate with our staff members. Parent conferences, if we can hold parent conferences virtually, that would be the preference. If not, of course, we will take those precautions, temperature checking the parents before we have a face-to-face meeting. And of course, we will be socially distanced in a room big enough so that meeting can take place. We're going to try to put markers on anywhere on the floor, in the cafeteria, in the classrooms to inform our kids and remind our kids and staff of social distancing. We're going to post signs around the school and the classrooms just to remind the kids about social distancing, and we should try to remain at that 6 foot as much as possible. Each day during the morning announcements, we'll again remind our kids about the social distancing and the healthy aspects of just making it through the day, washing your hands, using a hand sanitizer, and so on and so forth. Middle school wise, as far as changing classes, we want to limit the movement of those students as much as possible, so we'll have the teachers change classes during their core instructional time. The only movement that those students should have will be during elective periods where they'll go to either PE or band, excuse me, or lunch. Cafeteria, with the reduced number due to the number of kids that are signed up for virtual school, lunches will be staggered. They will not be as crowded as they normally are, so we are able to stagger the cafeteria lunches elementary-wise so that the maximum amount of kids can be in the cafeteria and still be socially distanced. Middle school-wise, we have enough space, enough time to have 2 grades have lunch at the same time, but 1 grade will have to eat in the classrooms. So we'll rotate that, 6th and 7th grade 1 week in the cafeteria, 8th grade may eat in the classroom, and then rotate it around. Then next week, 6th grade cafeteria classroom, and 7th and 8th grade in the cafeteria. We have, we're getting some donations of picnic tables. If teachers want to eat outside with their kids, they're able to do so. So we're getting some donations of those, and hopefully that will come in handy also. Water fountains, we have disabled all the water fountains to limit the amount of interaction with germs between the kids. So all the water fountains have been disabled. Kids are being encouraged to bring their own water jugs to school. Custodial staff is going to wipe down tables, wipe down cafeteria. We have a new position that we're able to hire in the cafeteria that's going to assist with the disinfecting and the cleaning between the lunches. All right. As far as the classrooms are concerned, we will try to socially distance as much as possible in the classrooms. In some cases, we may not be able to. We'll be encouraging those kids to wear masks. If the classrooms have desks in them, we have more leeway with the classrooms that have desks in them to make sure we're socially distant there. Those classrooms that have tables in them, we have the plexiglass dividers ordered so that we can separate the kids that way. Again, we're encouraging masks. They're not mandatory, but we're highly encouraging the masks, and hopefully the kids will follow instructions for the most part. Masks, face masks again, face shields, water fountains. Open house this year is going to be a virtual event where all our teachers are going to participate through virtual video. And that is a work in progress, and hopefully, for the first time for our virtual open house, hopefully we can pull it off. Again, in the hallways, signs will be posted. Classrooms, door handles, doorknobs, those are going to be disinfected throughout the day. Library, we're going to try to use as much online books as possible in the library to avoid book checkouts. If they do check out books, those books that they return are going to be disinfected and put in one place for up to 7 days so that they can make sure that they're disinfected before we give them to another student. At the end of the day, students are going to have, they're going to be assigned their own computer. With them not moving, their computer will stay with them throughout the day. Those computers will be wiped down at the end of the day to disinfect so that they can be used again for the next day. PE, students are going to remain, the way we group the students is that they pretty much stay with their cohort throughout the day. The only difference is, like I said, PE and band, whichever they decide. So the students will be with their cohort throughout the day. In the gym, we will utilize the gym, the exterior, back part of the gym, the practice field, and sometimes the courtyard to make sure that we have enough space to socially distance during PE classes. All the PE equipment will be disinfected after each class, which will be tedious but needed. Students, again, we're asking the students to bring their own water bottles and Gatorade and things like that to take outside during PE and band practice, band class. Transportation, I'm not going to go into transportation. I'll just go straight to the arrival. But this will probably be one of the biggest hurdles for us at Central because of the number of students. So the plan is when the children arrive in the morning time to use paras to do temperature checks when they get off the bus. So we'll do temperature checks when they get off the bus, and if that student happens to have a temperature over 99.6 now, that student will be sent directly to the isolation room, and then we'll contact the nurse and we'll go through the necessary safety procedures. Students should have a mask on the bus. And once those students get off the bus and they pass through the temperature checks, they'll be directed either to the cafeteria where they can get lunch and There will be enough room for some kids to sit down, and some kids will have to eat lunch in the classroom, breakfast, I'm sorry, in the classroom. Middle school kids on the middle school side, they have the choice to eat lunch or go and be in the gym where there's enough room to socially distance those kids. So when we think about the central school, we normally think about 1,100 kids, but there's not 1,100 kids at central. So due to the number of kids that have signed up to go virtually, the numbers are less, which means we can socially distance in the gym in the morning. Let's see. All right, markers, student temperatures, I went over that. When I was 6th grade, 8th grade, 7th grade. All right, parent drop-off, like I said, we'll treat parent drop-off, and just like the students getting off the bus, we'll have pairs there checking temperatures at the parent drop-off on the middle school and elementary side. Again, same procedure. If a student has a temperature above 99.6, at parent drop-off, if their temperature is above 99.6, we'll ask the parent to take that child home. No parents should be getting out of the vehicles, of course, at parent drop-off. Students will be dropped off. Dismissal during the afternoon. Pre-K through 5, parent pickup will start dismissing at 2:50. Staff members, we usually use staff members to open car doors to assist the speed and, the movement of the line. We will not have staff members opening car doors now because we don't want to transfer any germs, and we want to reduce contact. Parents, of course, will have the tags that they'll be issued for their students to put in their window. Pre-K bus riders, pre-K to 5 bus riders will dismiss at 2:55. 6th grade through 8th grade will dismiss at 3:05. 6th grade through 8th grade parent pickup will start dismissing at 3 o'clock. 8th grade parents, it's just telling you where to go. 8th grade middle school parent drop off and pickup is on the east side. Like I said, dismissal is going to be our biggest, arrival and dismissal is going to be our biggest thing. Just making sure the buses get there on time. If buses get there on time, we can get the kids on there and we don't have kids waiting, which will, of course, y'all know kids, it's kind of difficult to maintain social distance while those kids are waiting on the bus. So as long as everything is on schedule, everything will go according to plan. So if the buses are late, we will try to line the kids up on the walls in front of the office and on the side of the office and try to make sure that they're remaining socially distant. And hopefully the buses will not be too late. Let's see. Athletics-wise, extracurricular activity, football, we use the same not the same, but a little bit of different return to play plan that the high school used. The difference in ours is the gym has a bathroom in the front part of the lobby, which will be the only part of the building that the kids are going to be in during workouts. Everything else will be outside, and they will be maintaining social distance during the workouts, and less than 10 kids in a group. So volleyball, we have not found a volleyball coach, so we're still looking for a coach so that we can do tryouts and workouts for them. That's Central in a nutshell. It's just like Amy said, we're going to try and do the best we can to make sure the kids remain socially distanced. Try not to get frustrated because they are kids and we realize that they haven't seen each other in 7 or 8 months. And we're going to do the best that we can to make sure that the building custodians are doing a wonderful job of cleaning the building, making sure things are easily accessible for the kids, for the staff, and that they can get to it in the afternoons when it needs to be done. So with that being said, it's not going to be perfect. First day is going to be a hurricane. We're going to weather the storm and we'll keep keep trying to get better at it. Any questions?
Thank you. How many students are you expecting at Central?
Last check, we had, do you have numbers? Okay. Last check, we had 468 sign up for virtual. So that leaves us about 530, 540.
So that'll help things at the school with less students, of course. And thank you for your thorough plan. I know it's,
Thank you.
Thank you for your
appreciate it.
work on this. And I know that the teachers will, but, I forgot to say this to the other teachers or other principals who have presented, but if we could somehow encourage like frequent breaks through with it being on virtual or the virtual curriculum, for your students who are on grade level or your high achievers are going to not have any problem with this, but your ones below grade level or your fragile learners, this is going to be very hard. Very, very hard. And I just think that frequent breaks where they're able to, even if it's just move around in the room or move around or stand up or just, because that screen time, I mean, if it is a lot virtual, the screen time alone is going to be something that we need to take into consideration with your fragile learners or the ones who are below grade level and struggling and not really having success in the classroom.
Well, one of the elementary has a recess built in addition to PE, so that will help them. I encourage, especially my middle school teachers, I encourage them to give, we call them brain breaks. You know, give them a couple of minutes to stand up, stretch around, you know, move around the classroom, leave the classroom, walk outside, get some fresh air, come back, you know, something of that nature. So we encourage brain breaks. Can we do a little bit more during this time? Yeah, we can. So that shouldn't be.
I just think it's going to be a challenge for the teachers with expecting, I mean, even with like direct instruction, if you're doing it from Journeys or Eureka, I mean, you have the teacher doing a lot more interaction and talking, where with this, I don't know that just that whole idea of sitting there and already being encouraging the masks to be worn and already that isolation feeling that they're going to feel to.
That's probably bothers me more than anything.
Well, even though it's online, the kids are not necessarily in isolation like they would be if they were at home.
Right.
So you can spur a conversation, you can spur a discussion, and all the kids be on the same page. The teacher can stop and have a demonstration or, you know, things of that nature. And that in itself will be a break from the kids. Just,
I just think it's going to be real hard for your ones who are below grade level.
It will be a challenge for
And
some of them.
your ones maybe who are LD or ESC or behavior problems, it's going to be a challenge for them and the teacher.
Yep. That's what we're going to use. Hopefully we use our parish to step in and assist with that. So we got a plan. We just got to try to make it work.
It'll probably change 100 times between now and the time school starts.
That's the beauty of school, so.
All right, Ms. Williamson, Ms. Bell, do you have any questions for Mr. Williams?
I don't have any questions, but it's good to see you, Rod, feeling better. And I want you to be sure to thank the teachers who have volunteered their duty-free lunch to be able to eat with the children outside.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, that's it. Appreciate it, man.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
All right, and last but certainly not least, Mr. Ackerman, you're bringing up the rear.
Somebody's got to.
Keep
I've
on.
updated my plan just a little bit, so here's some copies of it if you want, and I'll send an electronic copy to Isaac. I'm not quite as tall as our last presenter. Well, thank you for the opportunity to come here to talk to you this evening. It's been quite a trying time this summer, but as everybody has indicated, I've been watching them online. Flexibility is going to be the key to everything for everybody. Flexibility among our staffs, among my individual school board, and of course through y'all as well, and understanding. What I want to first talk about is some of the things that we did this summer in preparation for being where we are today. So These were administrative requirements I put together very early on. All teachers, so remember this is in the past tense, but all of this has been accomplished since then. All teachers who have dedicated classrooms must clear their room of extra junk. If you have not used something since the month preceding spring break, take it home, bring it back when you need it for a lesson. Your classroom is not for storing items that you don't want at home. I see some smiles over that. If you do not want it cluttering up your house, I do not want it cluttering up our school. That is a statement that every principal loves an opportunity to give.
I love that paragraph.
Yeah. So I had a nun tell me that one time. These teachers keep all kinds of stuff at school that they just don't want at their house. So Mark, you need to keep those rooms clean. So that's been my mantra. So anyway, this was a great opportunity, and they all agreed, and they did a great job. Classes will be inspected by the administration. A list will be sent to each teacher, letting them know what needs to be removed. Let Mr. Ackerman know when your room is ready for inspection. Primary areas of concern: cloth-covered chairs, tabletop items making it difficult to clean, and extra learning materials. The cloth chairs, James Madison, like a lot of schools, we have a lot of donated stuff and a lot of old church cloth-covered chairs. And so that's those things that wind up in the hallway and every teacher grabs one, whether they need it or not. And so I hope there's none listening today. So anyway, so that was the idea, and then cleaning off all these countertops so it makes it very easy for the cleaning staff to clean. Put all miscellaneous items in plastic boxes. I offered to pay for as many plastic boxes as they wanted to put all their materials in. The biggest challenges were science and art, and if you've had any experience in education, you'll know why that is. They just accumulate a lot of stuff, and rightfully so. As of the date of this memo, all items have been completed. The science lab was the most difficult, and I want to compliment Mrs. Law for handling it like a professional and cleaning the lab and everything that I considered non-essential junk. Faculty and staff requirements. After your cleaning has finished, do not come back to the school unless you receive permission from Mr. Aker. And that was a district-wide thing that Ms. Shirley put into place anyway, and we followed that. If students do return to school, students will wipe down their desk or table when they enter the classroom. Cleaning staff, one major deep clean with harsh materials such as bleach and alcohol will be done for teachers after the teachers have completed their cleaning. Slightly open 2 windows in every classroom for fresh air. So we got that old building down there, and we got those windows that are up high, so you don't really have to worry about somebody crawling in that window. So, and they only go open about this much anyway. So I don't know, I just felt like, fresh air, just kind of, they're so stuffy during the summertime. So we cracked those open, they're still open. Pre-opening, pre-planning. Teachers will return to school on, it was August the 10th. Their working hours during pre-planning were 8 to 4, beginning August the 17th. As of today, the hours would be 7:30 to 3:45. We need teachers there to help open up classrooms before the students arrive. JMPH will have a virtual open house. The open house will be streamed on Facebook, and each teacher will have an opportunity to provide a presentation. Since the open house will be on Facebook, families and students will not have to tune in live. They'll be able to watch the playback at any time after the recording. That's actually not a bad idea in the future anyway, because you always worry about scheduling when parents can't come because they're working or it's too late when you do it so late that you're messing with folks' dinner. On Friday, August the 15th, an announcement will be made to our families to inform them about the rules, offerings, and changes that will be in place as we resume. I already had crafted that letter yesterday or day before yesterday, and as of yesterday, it was no good. So I will be writing that over again based on some of the stuff that we learned from Annie Dyke. First full week, and I think this is really the most critical for learning. Students will be evaluated during the first week of school to assess fourth quarter distance learning effectiveness. Students who indicate significant learning shortfalls will be placed on remediation plans. Students will be evaluated through teacher assessments based on fourth quarter objectives. Our emphasis will be on math and ELA. Student care, morning, okay, this will be our morning at James Madison. Students will have their temperatures taken at one of the two gates beginning at 7:30 a.m. 9th and 10th grade students will enter the school through the gate on the hospital side. 11th and 12th will enter on the Crane Avenue side. Students will be provided a mask by the school on the first day, but may opt for their own mask. All right, and I'm happy to talk about this next paragraph. The temperature threshold will be 100.5. If a student has a temperature higher than 100.5, they will be escorted by a staff member to the isolation room, which is in the Ag building, which is that blue building down below us, owned by Lisa Tootin. It's really, actually, we probably will have the perfect isolation room, because if you know that building, there's two doors on the front of it that faces the street, that blue building, and you can go in there, and it's like an old house. It's got long hallways, and there's a hallway that goes straight to a room. And you don't have to worry about them walking by anybody. They can go in there and leave and get picked up from there as well. So as far as anything being ideal, that will be ideal for us. If it is still 100.5 or above, they will remain in the building until the ride picks them up. If they are a driver, the guardian will be contacted and the student will be allowed to drive home. In order to return to school, the student will have to show proof of a negative COVID-19 test or a note from a medical professional. I only put medical professional there and not doctor because a PA may be the one that makes that decision for them. I'm not really talking about nurses. A written record will be kept of any students who have a temperature of 100.5. Teachers will monitor students throughout the day for COVID-19 warning signs. A CDC guideline list of those signs will be distributed to the faculty. That list will be updated as changes occur, which is practically daily. Any student who exhibits signs will be sent to the office for a temperature check. Students will be required to wear a mask in the classroom. They will be highly recommended, but it will be optional for them to wear one outside. They will be reminded to keep up our motto for the year, which will be keep on moving. No words will be permitted to be on a mask unless it is related to a sports team. All students, employees, and visitors must have their temperatures taken at one of the two main gates. The school will be divided into half. I've already told you that. I knew that was in there somewhere twice. This will be our gate to come and leave school, their gate. So they'll be assigned that gate when we have a lot of dual enrollment kids. We haven't been using our Crane Avenue side gate. It's been only coming through the front gate on the hospital side. That'll change this year. We'll let the dual enrollment kids go out that gate. They'll have to sign out before they do that. The administration and or school nurse will take temperatures. Visitors may come to the school by appointment only. Simply call the office and ask if it is okay to come by. Students will not be allowed to have guests for lunch under any circumstances. We didn't have too much of that requested from me, but a lot of times it was a former student that had just graduated. They wanted to come really to see the teacher, if anything. But we're not going to allow that. All students will be required to eat outside. Students will be socially distanced while in line for lunch. Cafeteria staff will be protected by masks and window shields. If it's too cold or too hot or raining, students will eat their lunch in their assigned homeroom classes. Students who are in good standing according to the rules set forth in the student handbook will be allowed to leave campus for lunch. They will be subject to signing in and signing back out. The critical part of this is the office staff, protected by an acrylic shield, will witness appropriate hand cleaning before the student returns to class. This lunch policy will be monitored by the principal and will be revoked if he deems it a health issue. JMPHS will also be sensitive to feedback from local restaurants. I don't want our local people feeling uncomfortable if a bunch of students pile into their restaurant and are not observing what their requirements are for behavior. Dismissal, bus riders will be required by the district to wear masks. Students will not be allowed to get on the bus or the school van without a mask. Preparing for students and staff beginning Monday, July 27th, that's already passed, A deep cleaning with chemical disinfectants will begin on every classroom and indoor common space of the school. Areas of particular attention will include, but not be limited to, all exposed surfaces in the school, including desks, countertops, and sinks. All carpets will be professionally cleaned for a second time this summer. That's already been scheduled for next week. All tile floor surfaces will be stripped, disinfected, and waxed. Students and staff restroom facilities will be scrubbed with bleach. Lunchroom and ag building will be scrubbed with bleach. Sneeze guards will be installed at the office desk and lunchroom pickup counter. Students will be assigned computers to cut down on cross-contamination. Clean door handles and light switches at every opportunity. Our cleaning staff should be doing that constantly. School water fountains, like everybody else, will be disabled. Daily cleaning. Touchless hand sanitizer will be located in every classroom, or actually every room, not just classrooms. Rooms will be sprayed with a state-of-the-art sprayer that disinfects a room in minutes. Social distancing will be enforced to the best of teachers' ability based on class size. Desks have been requested to replace tables via the CARES grant. A part-time porter, it's a cleaning staff person, will clean and disinfect bathrooms, door handles, door facing, solid surfaces as often as possible during the day. School will have a part-time nurse to monitor student health. An isolation room has been established with private access. Rooms will be mist sanitized anytime students are not occupying the room. So the cleaning staff will be just wandering around, and anytime there's a vacant room, which isn't often for us, but it does happen, then they'll go ahead and start cleaning that room for the next class to come in. There is not time to clean a classroom between each class if another class is coming in. It's just not practical. Anyone who enters the building as a visitor will be required to have their temperature checked. I already said that. Arrows will be placed on the sidewalk where it is practical, and signs for directing anybody entering the property. Gate monitor and buzzer must be installed. We have hard gates now, but we do not have the buzzer and camera for that. I think there's money for that in the district. Ben and I just need to work out the details of getting that installed, and I've already spoken to him about that. So now we have it as a record. Academic preparation. In order to support the federal and state government's directive that schools open on time and students report to school in traditional fashion, JMPH will access student participation on the first day of school. Any student who is currently registered with JMPH who does not come to school the first day will be contacted directly with JMPH, registered with JMPH who does not come to school the first day will be contacted. If that student does not feel safe attending traditional classes, JMPH will offer a virtual option. Once that is established, the student will be provided the technology necessary to access virtual classes. Now, if you'll listen to this carefully, this is where our virtual classes differ from the district's. Students will log into their class schedule the same as traditional students, but from home. They'll be expected to attend virtually and answer roll call for every class. If they are late logging in, they will be considered tardy. If they do not log in all day, they will be considered absent and will be marked as such. If a student makes some classes in a certain day but misses others, they will be considered truant for the missed class or classes. No student will be penalized for technology problems that are deemed the fault of the school. We have made provisions for virtual students to receive Chromebooks or laptops as well as hotspots. So to tell you how ours is going to work, there'll be a camera on every teacher's laptop. It'll be directed only at the teacher for privacy for the students, obviously, that are in the class. That'll be accessed directly through Google to the students at home. Right now, we have anywhere from 5 to 7 students that are interested in doing this. Otherwise, everybody else is planning on coming to our school. And so they will watch that live. And I think the beauty of that is that if all of a sudden the Lord blesses us and this thing goes away before the school year's out and it's time for everybody to be in school, we won't have to do anything for those kids but tell them to show up because they should be getting that. Now, Mr. Alford mentioned earlier, talking about, ESE kids and stuff like that. Right now, we don't have any that are listed as such, but if we do, we will provide, just like we did during the last fourth quarter, we'll provide anything they need. We'll provide written materials, or anything that they need for their IEPs. All staff will observe the same social distancing and mask guidelines as the students. They will be allowed to wear a mask and shield if they choose. All staff will have their temperatures checked at the gate as the students do. Future closure. JMPH had an excellent attendance rate with our fourth quarter closure, anywhere from 92 to 95%. Now that was the online attendance, people checking in like we asked them to do. If the school has to close again in a similar fashion to the March 13th closure, we will resume our virtual classes using Google Classroom and Zoom conferencing. Students will be provided laptops and Chromebooks per their teacher's recommendation. Laptops are required for certain classes that have certain programs that can't be accessed through Chromebooks. Lesson plans will be monitored every day by the school administration. That's something that I do daily. Students who do not check in every day will be called by the office in the morning and followed up by the homeroom teacher after the school day. I will tell you something. I was really proud of our staff. I mean, everybody on the staff. It took everybody on the staff to get that attendance where it was. Mm-hmm. It was not left to the administration to make sure all the kids got to the school. It was left to everybody. We had about 4 different avenues that we use. We use our para, Bobby Tompkins, who was phenomenal at getting in touch with people that we didn't even have their phone numbers, who knew somebody and got them. I mean, that's just invaluable. Mm-hmm. And it was just constant calling. We found out there's a lot of people that have 30-day phones and their numbers change constantly. So it's just, it is what it is. It's a work in progress, and you just have to get dedicated to it. Teachers were great about it, and we had a master list that we just that we had on Google Docs that we just continued to update. And a teacher would put in there, you could see every afternoon where phone numbers and addresses were getting updated. So I would just encourage everybody to do that. I think you'll see a huge difference. That's my soapbox for the day. Student assignments will be provided electronically with assignments due once a week. That's how we did things for the fourth quarter. Students who have IEPs will be provided with written assignments per parent and teacher request. Students must use daily email to fulfill their attendance requirement. Transportation, and finally, transportation. JMPHS students will be encouraged to carpool or be driven to school rather than riding the school bus. Not trying to knock the school buses, but, those buses are going to be crowded, and anything we can do to alleviate that and get them to school safely is what we got to do. Also, James Madison will be using a recently purchased van to transport students to Madison County High School for athletic related and classes and band. We send kids out for weightlifting and band primarily. And finally, wash your hands and keep on moving.
Okay.
That's all I got for you. You want me to say something about the 100.5 degree thing? Do you want to hear something about that?
Sure.
Why not, right?
Yes.
So I talked
Go
to,
ahead.
well, we weren't, you can look on the internet and find everything about what that threshold should be. And I talked to 2 medical professionals here in the community who indicated to me that really 101 is when something is considered viral. Okay, and so one of them advised me, who's on our school board, that then to err on the side of caution, we should do 100.5. My concern about the one that was issued from, and I'm not sure if Annie's came from the CDC or came from the local health department, is that it is so close to the right temperature that when we're using these laser deals, that they are affected by students being outside in the heat. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot varying stories on how much it varies. It's probably not very much, but some of the suggestions are check them 10 minutes later. Well, is that practical when you got kids coming into school and going, okay, here's your temperature, let's check it in 10 minutes. That's going to be a lot of kids, I think. So I'm going to do what everybody in this district does anyway, because I think it's real important that we stay consistent. But I left mine as that before Andy's meeting yesterday with us, because I just wanted to share that I think that there's still some debate about what that ought to be. And again, what's practical?
Yep.
Yeah, and what's realistic. So.
Thank you very much. I like the idea of the camera on the computer. Now, you were talking about the virtual students.
Yes, ma'am.
And looking at the teacher and, no.
Yeah, and that's, I've seen that there's a lot of schools that are doing that. I know there's a lot of schools that want to do it and can't, but I think it's fairly obvious that is the best for the student, know? And
Could a student do it if they were absent, like sick that day?
well, if they're absent or something, it'd be pretty easy to do that from home. They can just come on and log or sign in and just say, we're sick today, we're not going to be able to be there. And
That
then
may
they
be
would,
a good thing in the future to keep students from missing their.
That's a good idea.
Especially in a class that
Yep.
they need to, if
Yeah.
they're sick or sick for a while, that would be a good
yeah.
way to make sure they're
Keep
keeping
them
up with these harder classes. Your math and English classes and science classes. It's true.
But I just want to, leave you also with, please pray for our teachers. I mean,
Yeah.
this is, I've Zoomed with my teachers several times already, and I just hated everything I had to say to them, about losing some of their time as far as, doing extra duty and things like that. But, we got to do it to take care of our kids. And so maybe someday we can make it up to them.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Mr.
Thank
Thank you,
Davis.
guys. Appreciate it.
All right, good job. Okay. All right, he's still holding. All right. We'll go to the public portion of our meeting. Mr. Isaac indicated that there is one that would like to speak, or do they have a written? Okay, well, you can, it'll have 3 minutes to present. Okay. Okay. Is it a female?
Do you
Okay.
want me to keep time for you?
Yeah, you can if you don't mind. All right. Ma'am, are you there? You can unmute your mic at this time, or your phone. And if you can hear me, would you unmute your mic and state your name? Is there a delay between? Okay. 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 All right, ma'am, are you there? Can she type? Can you communicate with the typing? Just to see if she can hear me at least. And I appreciate everybody's patience too. This is a part of it.
Hello?
Okay, hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Leisha Ferris Bland, and Takira Fry is my great niece, and she's supposed to be in 5th grade, but she's being held back in 3rd grade for the second time. Or somehow she's been, her history here has been held back for a second time. And we live in the projects. She lives with her mom and siblings. I live in my own unit in the projects, but we're two, relative families in the same project here. Our new name is Spring Hill. We're no longer Madison. We're Spring Hills now. Now, the family, my great niece, my niece, the family, they're already subject to eviction from the projects, which I don't know what happens next when you're evicted from the projects. What do families do? Where they go? I'm not sure what the county offers on that. But so I'm just trying to, be an advocate for her because I don't want her left too far behind. I have a PhD and I'm in the project. Guys, Tashana, I'm on the phone with the people now. Do you want to talk? Yes, hello? We're talking right now. Hello?
Okay. First of all, you can state your name, and remember now, you all have 3 minutes.
Okay, this is Tashana Mozon. This is Takira Fry's mother. And I just feel like at this point in time, my daughter was being treated unfair. She was put in a support class all year without the IP added. And it should have been added, so it was a mistake on the school's part. Although they did just what Miss Yolanda, the principal, she did just fix it for 4th grade. She should have been in 5th grade. So where do we go from here?
Okay.
Sir, and can you
yeah.
state who you are?
Have you been in communication with the administrator or the principal at the school? Or
I've been
any?
in communication with the principal today. And again, she put it to 4th grade, and my daughter should be going to 5th grade with an IP.
Okay. All right. And that's your issue. You just want.
That's
Okay. All right. Well, we have the superintendent that is here and present, and she's noting everything. And we have your name. And
May I ask what your name is and the superintendent's name is, so I know who I'm dealing with?
well, the superintendent of schools' name is Miss Shirley Joseph.
Okay. Nice to meet you. And your name, sir?
Well, my name is Reggie Daniels.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Reggie.
Pleased to
and Mr.
meet you.
Shirley.
Okay.
I appreciate the concern for my daughter. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bart.
My name is Bart Alford. I'm a school board member. Are you saying your daughter does have an IEP?
I'm saying she was rejected for an IP,
So
and she was put in a support classroom all year. She was actually supposed to be in 5th grade, going to 5th grade, and she was held back due to the fact that she didn't have that IPE, and she was in a support class of a 3rd grade level.
So she
So
was.
they're only bringing her to 4th grade due to this issue, not 5th grade, where she's supposed to be going to.
What grade was she in last year?
3rd
What grade was she in last year?
3rd grade.
3rd. So this year would be 4th.
She was held back in 2nd grade the year before last for the same issue. And she was also in another support class. And the thing of the problem is the last 2 years, they were supposed to add the IPE where she didn't get left back. And they left her back in 2nd grade and tried to do the same thing for 3rd grade.
Ms. Joseph, I'm
So
sure
she should
she's
be in
probably in MTSS, probably they need to have a meeting for that to see.
Ma'am, my name is Shirley Joseph, and I am the superintendent. And what I can do for you, this is my first time hearing of this situation. I can research this information tomorrow and give you a call sometime tomorrow. and then we can discuss what's going on.
I have no problem with that, as well as my aunt,
Okay,
Lisa, Miss Lisa, who you've been talking to.
okay,
I'm also giving her rights and permission to speak on my behalf as well, because I am in CDL school for driving. So I will be actually in Jacksonville tomorrow.
okay.
This matter has been going for 2 years, and I was at the school today.
Well,
So either one of us is like speaking to the same person,
okay,
is what I'm saying.
I need to know how to contact you tomorrow because I'm gonna research this tomorrow morning. And then I will go out to the school tomorrow and I'll get back with you or either your aunt.
Yes, please. Okay. So you can call both our numbers. Do you have either one of our numbers on file there? Because they did reach out
Yeah,
and got our information. Do you have that information current? If
yeah,
not, I
Okay,
can give
c-
it.
yeah, because I don't think we
I will
want to put
get
it
the
in.
information from the school tomorrow morning.
Right.
Okay.
What principal did you speak with? What administrator did you speak with at the school?
I spoke to Miss Yolanda. She is the principal from pre-K to fourth grade.
Okay, I will speak with her tomorrow and get your contact information.
Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you guys.
All right.
Okay, and
Thank you.
I'm gonna research the information and look through it and get back with you about that. That's what I'm gonna do.
Thank you. And she's very aware. If you guys need any further information, last year I actually stopped half the school year and took my daughter back home. And when I took her back home to New York for 6 months, less than that, they shot her right to third grade due to her education. So they do have the history of my New York information from school as well, if that's something that you can look into as well.
Yes, I will look in her cume folder tomorrow when I visit the school.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. We got it. That's it? Okay. All right. Okay. Mr. Isaac has indicated that there are not any more, no more from the public. Okay.
I had a question, Ms.
All right.
Joseph, concerning the dietary recommendations from food service. Just a question concerning, it said that they would wear the shields that, I guess, kitchen staff would wear the shields. Are they wearing masks also, or just the shields?
I've had extensive conversation with Ms. Nguyen, who's our food service supervisor, and most sees face masks, either cloth or some kind, and the moisture and condensation it'll hold bacteria, and so they are looking for some fog-free mask, shields.
Shields,
And that's the purpose, when they're around these heat things.
right, right. I just was
Okay,
wondering.
that was the purpose of that. Just for a few comments from me, I would like, even though my principals the principals are gone now, I would like to thank them and their staff for all the work they've done. As you notice, this was not a fly-by-night operation that they've done. They've taken time, and most of them, they've revisited several times, and they're still revisiting it. And I need to do a special thank you to Paula Kaufman, because the administrative staff at Central School, they had been out for a few days, and she was a true team player. She's really helped them a whole lot with getting their plans together. But we're all in this together, and we're doing the best we can. And at the forefront is the safety of our kids. We do need to provide an education for the kids. And so we understand that, say truly we're going to social distance. That's kind of hard to do in a school setting, but we're going to provide the safest environment possible for your kids.
Okay.
Yes.
And if anybody wants to, I know they presented the plans, but the plans are still posted online, if anyone would like to go in and read those plans.
All right. Okay. Since we didn't have, give the board members time to say a whole lot during the last meeting, you can do so now.
Well, I would just say I also appreciate Mrs. Joseph, Superintendent Shirley Joseph, for what you do, and your staff, and of course, all the administrators and everyone at the schools that helped develop these plans. Like you said, it didn't take a day or two. This requires a lot of extensive planning. And of course, it's all for the safety of the children. And really, schools are a social place. So it's when you say stay away and keep your distance, that's tough. You know, it's actually tough for me because I'm used to going in the schools and having them come up to the rug and, you know, reading them a story, and it's going to be different for sure. So I appreciate all the work, and thank you.
I want to thank all the principals and their hard work that's gone into coming up with these working plans and plans that'll change probably numerous times prior to school even starting. Just know that all precautions that we're making are for the child's safety, the faculty and staff safety, and for the community safety. I would rather err on the side of caution, extreme caution at this time, and not for us to not be as cautious and something would happen to a student or to a faculty member. I have had some concerns from a parent concerning the isolation room. And why didn't we do it last year with the flu? Well, you know, we probably should have, because in this day and time, the nurse's office has turned into more of a wellness clinic where you may have diabetic students in there, students with asthma, students in there for medication. Many students are on medication throughout the day and for lice checks. So in all reality, we should have had this. So what we're doing now, I feel, is only going to make us stronger as a district in that there's more focus on wellness, and if students are well, they're at school. So that is one good positive thing. If there is a positive that's come out of this, I think it's heightened our sense of awareness of germs and trying to be as safe as we can for the students so they can come to school. Another concern that has been mentioned, of course, I said earlier, is the 215 pickup, which again, there's a lot of moving parts to this that people may not realize until you're out at the school at the end of the school day when students are having to dismiss. Another concern that's been voiced is visitors coming on campus having to wear a mask. And I think the attorney, I'm sorry that he's not here tonight, and maybe he can address it at the next meeting. I think he maybe spoke to this the other night, concerning visitors and then being on campus. And the other aspect I've thought about, not only, we have a bargaining unit here. Our faculty and staff are part of the bargaining unit within the district, and we have to respect their safety and doing what's best for them to be safe along with our students. They bargain, we bargain in good faith with them, and I think, and I look at this as a way with having visitors wear the mask, and that is a respect we're showing to our staff that we're trying to keep them as safe as we can. If people are offended by it, I'm sorry. If people threaten to sue us, the attorney will have to speak to that. I mean, I don't know what to say other than I feel we have a responsibility to our faculty and staff and students to keep people as safe as we can. The other concern that had been mentioned is concerns of backpacks not being allowed. With us going to virtual, I myself had some concerns initially concerning backpacks, in that for your higher grade kids at this particular school, it goes to 5th grade, would have a lot of books and possibly homework if we were still doing journeys in Eureka. But if it's virtual, then your work should be completed at school on the computer. So theoretically, you may have pages of worksheets going home possibly, but you wouldn't have textbooks. So if that is a concern of parents, and I don't even know that parents realize that the curriculum is going to be Florida virtual, and the reason for that, and Ms. Joseph may speak to it, is if we have to unfortunately go to a shutdown, that we will be prepared and and the students will be prepared and know how to already do it. The last thing that had been brought to my attention, are we doing, I know in the past we've had a back to school, which there's no way we can do this year, a back to school for supplies. Are people doing that this year, Ms. Joseph?
Officially, I haven't heard of anyone doing it. I was talking with Jennifer Williams today, and she's our homeless liaison, and she is trying to get something together for our homeless kids. But as a district, as a global thing, we are not doing anything yet.
If community organizations would like to do this, I would encourage them to do it, but I've always said this, the last 18 years I've said it when we've done these, the people who show up at those events truly aren't the neediest. And I would ask that if we do something like that the supplies go to the school site where the teachers can get what the students need, because they're going to know what they may be in need of in the classroom, since they're in the classroom with them and having to have their own supplies this year. That's all I have to say, and sorry for the length, but I just felt I needed to say that. And I will say that on a positive note, I think this will be the cleanest school year we've ever had in the district. I don't know that it's ever been this clean, any of our schools, so that is one positive thing to look at and to look toward, because we have a lot of plans for a lot of cleaning and a lot of sanitizing and spraying, and which that's a good thing. I mean, we should always be doing that, and it'll be interesting to see how it will mitigate our absenteeism with as this year progresses, just with your average colds and all that. Hopefully it will decrease that for all the students.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alford. Ms. Williamson.
I just want to thank all of our principals and our administration and Ms. Joseph for all the hard work and getting this plan to get back to school as safely as possible.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Bell, anything?
Yes, I would like to thank everyone for working together and providing us with a plan to reopen the schools on August the 17th. Your hard work doesn't go unnoticed. I know that it's very important for our students to attend school face-to-face, but there have been individuals that have been affected severely by COVID-19 in our community. I would suggest providing district learning for all our students until the first of the year or until the Florida cases decrease. But with the push of the reopening of these schools, reopening plans had to be provided. Safety is very important. But like what was said earlier, 1 year or a couple of months or a couple of weeks from now, will we be able to say we know for a fact we did everything possible to protect every student, their relatives, and our staff? Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ms. Bell. And I want to thank all of the district staff, superintendent, all of the administrators for doing an excellent job of trying to prepare for this challenge that's before us. I would do or ask everyone to do as Mr. Ackerman asked us to just let us pray for our teachers and students and staff, and just, as we move forward. We're in uncharted waters, as we said before, and it's just going to be a challenge. And we'll let us just pray and hope for the best. That's all I have.
Keep moving.
Keep it moving. In the words of Mr. Aiken. Yes, sir. All right, with that, will we have a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
All right, motion and second. All in favor, Ms. Gibson?
Approve.
Mr. Alford?
Approve.
Ms. Williamson?
Approve.
Ms. Bell?
Approve.
Also approved, 5-0. This meeting is now adjourned.